Alright, this is just going to be another single video topic as opposed to a one in a series of videos like I did for gun control. I just want to talk a little bit about the Tea Party. One thing I really hate when I read in comment sections or in articles is when people refer to or characterize the Tea Party as a homogeneous unit, or sometimes even a particular organization. Indeed, there are a number of organizations that identify themselves as "quote unquote" the Tea Party. Even a cursory examination of the phenomenon reveals that there are many different ideological backgrounds, different motivations, different people involved, and most of them, I mean, if you want to look at common denominators, there aren't very many. They're definitely not just Republicans. I attended some what were termed tax protest rallies before the Tea Party, so to speak, was in the media really back during the Bush years. I went to a couple in my local state capital, and they were quite an eclectic mix. You had basically regular Republicans there, the various candidates coming, but then you also had basically extremely anti-government libertarians. You had a lot of conspiracy theorists. You had quite a mix, and to say that it was just Republicans would be totally disingenuous. What we've seen in the last couple of years is that the anti-government libertarians who have always been around and who have consistently opposed the federal government, especially during the Bush years. I mean, I went to Tea Parties during the Bush years, and it wasn't, nobody there was saying, hey, everything's great. Everybody was, not everybody, but many of the people there were very angry with the way the government was run. And this was before Obama was even a candidate, and way before the financial problems of 2008. Since the financial crisis, and specifically the election of Obama, a lot of more mainstream Republicans have become active. And I actually considered this actually one of the main reasons why I'm glad Obama won rather than McCain. Because had McCain won, I suspect that many of those people, even if McCain did exactly the same thing as Obama, would, be happy with what was going on. But there definitely is a right-wing nationalist, I would even say fascist, theocratic strain in the Tea Party, and it's very ugly, and it is very prevalent, and that's something that's always been part of American politics, and it's kind of come out into the open a lot more since Obama's been. When Bush was president, that was who Bush was, and so these people were content to watch affairs go by on television, and they weren't out in the streets. Now they've come out in the streets, but there are other elements to American society that are not nearly so ugly, and they make up a big part of the Tea Party. Intellectually, they make up the majority of it, I would say. And this has kind of always been the case. If you think about it, people conflate conservatives and libertarians. Libertarians have been the brains that conservatives have turned to over the years. Conservatives are pretty willy-nilly and inconsistent when it comes to their ideology. In fact, the very notion of a conservative ideology is kind of silly, because to conserve, that means whatever happens to be traditional or already instituted is de facto to be preserved or whatever. And that's just, I mean, so for instance, Social Security is now conservative because it's been around for 70 years. However, or 80 years. However, before it was instituted, it would have been anti-conservative because it would have been new. I mean, it just, and if you look at the authors and the people that they, you know, there are people who identify as conservative thinkers like Russell Kirk and Nisbet and I don't know, maybe a few others, but you know, to the extent that they're really intellectuals, they're practically libertarians. But to just categorically say that the Tea Party is only one or the other is wrong. I mean, libertarians, I think, make the mistake sometimes of just kind of thinking or claiming or at least hoping that the Tea Party is all genuine libertarianism, when clearly it's not. Clearly it has a large red state fascist wing to it. However, on the other side, it's equally incorrect to assert that it is only red state fascists. There are quite a few principled minarchists, principled small government people, serious constitutionalists who are serious civil libertarians in it. And so I'm glad that it's going on. I'm glad that we have a movement that is, like I said, there aren't many common denominators, but one of them is an anti-government. Now, they don't, beyond that, they differ. I mean, a lot of them are really pro-war, and that's, you can't really be for smaller government if you're pro-war, especially these wars, because they're they don't meet any standard of justice or justification by anything that isn't an imperialistically hubristic definition of war. But I don't know, like, people worry about the Tea Parties getting co-opted. They were co-opted to an extent right from the get-go, but to the other extent, they never will be. You know, the serious anti-government people out there aren't going to suddenly become Mitt Romney fans, no matter what. And the thing is that a lot of the red state fascists, not a lot of them, but some of them at least, are getting exposed to newer and better ideas, and perhaps some of them may change some of their minds. I don't hold out that all of them, or even the majority of them, will. Another reason why this, when I went to Tea Parties back in the mid and early 2000s, they were a lot smaller. The reason they're bigger now is not because an ideological shift has occurred, although there is one that is occurring. The reason they're bigger now is because the economy is bad. When people are doing well, they're just not interested in that sort of thing, and getting up and protesting. When they're unemployed, or they're having reduced hours, or they see a lot of unemployment, then they're more uppity, let us say. And that has been a major impetus. And since I don't see the economy getting good anytime soon, thanks to the policies of the government, I don't see the Tea Parties as going away. I don't hold up any hope of them producing political results that are either lasting or affirmative. If we look, there are some, when Ron Paul has gained more power, there are a few Republicans who were elected who are substantially better than what we've been used to having. Justin Amash comes to mind. Perhaps there's a few others. There's a few already established Republicans who have become better, but if you look at their numbers, they're insignificant. However, I'm one to say that social change should be bottom up, not top down, and it is vain. We hope in vain for the government to right itself, and the Tea Parties stand a good chance of accomplishing a bottom up. In fact, I think the Tea Partiers themselves are a manifestation of a change. Not necessarily a super dramatic, super widespread one, but a change nonetheless. And that's certainly long overdue. So, all right, that's it.